Hi everybody, welcome to Real Rebel. Today I am going to review the movie Trading Places. Trading Places came out in 1983 and it was directed by John Landis, who also directed Animal House, The Blues Brothers movie, Coming to America, Three Amigos, Spies Like Us, and An American Werewolf in London. So he has done quite a bit of work from the late 70s and early 80s. And it stars Eddie Murphy as Valentine, Dan Aykroyd as Winthrop, and Don Amici as Mortimer, and Ralph Bellamy as Randolph, and Jamie Lee Curtis as Ophelia. So it starts off with Randolph and Mortimer, and you can just tell by the reactions from their employees that these two are not well-liked individuals. They're extremely wealthy and they do not treat their employees very well. Mortimer in particular is pretty racist, and so immediately off the bat, these are the villains of the movie, no question. Eddie Murphy is introduced. He's kind of a con artist, and he gets wrongly accused of robbing Dan Aykroyd's character Winthrop, and Winthrop works for Randolph and Mortimer as the person who advises them on their trades and everything, and so Randolph and Mortimer, just to kind of amuse themselves, make a bet that they can get rid of Winthrop and replace him with the Eddie Murphy character, and Randolph bets that Valentine will do just as good of a job as Winthrop, and that it's only his environment that has caused him to be this con artist, this criminal who he is. And Mortimer believes that he's just a bad person just because of the color of his skin, and that he's not going to do well, and so they make that bet. So for a good portion of the movie, I kind of sided with the Randolph character just because he was on the positive side of the bet for Valentine. But he kind of shows his true colors later on. Randolph and Mortimer succeed in making this switch, so now the Dan Aykroyd character Winthrop is on the streets and he has nothing. He's lost his girlfriend, he's lost his money, he's lost his house, everything. And the Valentine character is now living in his house and is making the salary. They pay him $80,000 in 1983, which was a significant sum of money back then, and still is. I think one of the most important characters in this movie is the butler, and he's played by Denholm Elliott, who is probably most widely known as Aykroyd from the Indiana Jones franchise. He does a fantastic job. The actor does a great job, and the character is great because the character just reacts to the other characters. So when he's the butler for the Winthrop character, the Dan Aykroyd character, you know, he's just like, he's bored, and you know, he obviously does not like the people that he works for. He doesn't like Dan Aykroyd. But then when Valentine comes in, Valentine also brings in a bunch of people to party at the house, and you can tell that the butler's name is Coleman, that Coleman he's having a good time. He's kind of enjoying this. And then I think that one of the reasons that this movie works is the character development, and Eddie Murphy actually throws everybody out of the party because, you know, this is his home and they're trashing it, and he doesn't like that. You know, so he's taking pride in his belongings, and these aren't really his friends. So he orders them all to leave, and at the end Coleman says, you know, okay, sir, you have a big day ahead of you with your new job, so why don't you go get some rest, you go retire, and I'll clean up after everything. And Valentine says, yeah, that's a good idea, thank you. I think I will retire, thank you. And when he thanks him, Coleman kind of looks at him like, wow, he thanked me. Like, he actually acknowledged me as a human being and thanked me, and, you know, is talking to me on my level, not down at me. And so I think it was a really significant yet subtle moment, and I really like that about this movie. So close to an hour into the movie, the Eddie Murphy character, he's he's scared. You know, he's scared about going into his new job, and Coleman kind of calms him down and he says, you know, just be yourself. They can't take that away from you. I think that was another great line from the Coleman character. On the flip side of it, where Winthrop is now the homeless person, he's frustrated because he's been set up to be this criminal, and he's lost everything, and so he's very frustrated that the life that he's built has just completely shattered in front of him. When Mortimer and Randolph are explaining commodities to Valentine, it's one of my favorite scenes because you've got visual aids, and they've got a plate with wheat on it, and they've got a plate of gold bars, and so they're explaining to him how commodities work in their business, and that basically for their customers they execute transactions, and it doesn't matter if their customers win or lose. They win because they collect commissions. And Valentine says, "Oh, so you guys are bookies," and it was just a really funny moment. But that scene does a great job of explaining very simply what they do in their business. There's a turning point in the movie where this is where the Randolph character really shows his colors. Mortimer and Randolph are in the bathroom. They don't realize that Eddie Murphy is in a stall hiding. So Randolph and Mortimer, they decide to settle their bet, and Mortimer has clearly lost because the Valentine character has done well with the company. So Mortimer gives Randolph the money that he had bet, and they ask, "So are we going to keep Valentine around?" That's when these two really show their true colors. Is they call him another very offensive term, and say that they aren't going to have someone like that run their business. And this really hurts. This hurts because not only because they're using this language to describe him, but we also see Valentine in the stall. We see him hear it, and he's just like, whoa, blown away, like, what, these guys made a bet over me, and that's how they see me? Okay, and then, so he's like, all bets are off. I am going to go after these two, and we as the audience, we are invested. We're like, yeah, you go get them, Valentine. So Valentine joins up with Winthrop and Ophelia and Coleman. They all band together to get revenge on these guys, and not just get revenge, but to ruin them, and which is great. But the sequence there where they set all this up, it takes place on an Amtrak train, and I really don't like it. I think that the comedy is extremely aged. It is not funny. I don't even know if it was really particularly funny back in the early 80s. Maybe it was, but I didn't think it was funny. The whole movie is very classy. Up until this point, I'm like, gosh, was this the same director? Was this the same writer? And it probably was that did this part, but there's something about the whole train sequence which is just, it's stupid, and maybe that's subjective, but I did not like it at all. It does set in motion everything for the climax scene of this movie, which really is the scene that makes this movie completely worth watching. So the ending scene takes place on the trade room floor of the World Trade Center, and which is, whenever there's a movie that has the World Trade Center in it, it's always kind of chilling. I always kind of get chills up and down just seeing that. And you see all these really stressed out people. I don't understand how any of that works, how they can understand what other people are yelling and shouting and screaming, and how they keep track of all that stuff. But you see you see Mortimer and Randolph, they're up in their, up above, looking down on everybody, and they're poised to make a huge winning in, because they have some insider trading, and so they're going to watch everything from above. And all I can think of is Statler and Waldorf from the Muppets, and they're just up there going like, hey, you see that there? There's a frog and a pig. I think they're in love. Yeah, it makes you kind of sick to your stomach, doesn't it? So I'm going to give this movie 3 cat paws. I think it's good. I think that there are flaws with it. There's some of the comedy is dated. There's that Amtrak scene that I really don't like. But the rest of it is, I think it's worth watching. This is a movie that I would probably watch once every 10 years. I don't have any props for this episode, but I was a coin collector in my youth, so I've got, this is a silver dollar from 1898. I don't know how well that's going to show up there, but yeah, so that is a silver dollar from 1898. This is the flip side of it, and as you can see, this is actually silver because it doesn't have that copper ring through it like the later silver dollars. This has got Eisenhower on it. This one is from the 1971, and yeah, so you can kind of see that there, and then yeah, so but you can see this has got copper in the middle, so, or whatever kind of metal, so it's not, this isn't actually a silver dollar, but yeah, I brought some other coins just because money, this movie has a lot to do with money. So you've got your Susan B. Anthony dollar there, you've got your $50, and then all the rest of your coins there. So got Canadian money, there's a moose on a quarter, I've got an English pound, and let's see, I've got a Camp Snoopy. Can you see that? Little Camp Snoopy there. Yep. From the Mall of America. And this is pretty cool. This is a 3-cent piece. So it's got Lady Liberty there, and then a little 3 there. This is from 1866. So none of this stuff is really worth that much because none of it's in mint condition. Maybe this will be someday, probably not really in my lifetime, but none of this is in mint condition, so none of it's really worth much. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun. Bye!